Určite v VMX. Ja. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My apologies for the delay. We had to make sure that everything functions properly, and now we can enjoy, just like the spectators in Ljubljana. You can see some of them on a boat, some of them in the stands, but now we can also enjoy the volleyball on water. So, what we have in front of us is we're just going to call it the Ljubljana Challenge. But Ljubljana has been the only place in the world that has been able to create this wonderful court that is basically on the water. And this is the specialty about it. You can see the boats just passing by while the players are playing. And if you're asking, what are we watching? This is the bronze medal match. The bronze, so we had 8 teams on the men's side, 8 teams on the women's side, and these are the last women and last men standing. On your left-hand side, in we're gonna call them blue tops. This is my own interpretation. You're seeing the Slovenian team of Zoya Kalar, who is serving right now, and Maya Marot at the net. There you see Zoya. And on the other side, we see the Austrian representatives with Mihi Handler Holaus and Kati Holzer. So it's not just a neighbor duel, it's also a neighbor duel, it's also a country duel, and it's also a bronze medal match. So the first thing we're going to look at is how those ladies made it all the way till the bronze medal match. And the fun fact of this one is that they've actually met in the pool already, and it was the first match yesterday morning. We started at about 10 o'clock, and it was the second match of the tournament. They met in Pool B, where Zoya and Maya from Slovenia met the Austrians, Mihi and Kati, and it was a 3-set drama, 21-14 for the Slovenians, 22-24 for the Austrians, and 15-13 in the third set for Austria, which meant that they moved on in the group and played for the pool, to topping the pool and directly advancing into the semifinal, where Zoya and Maya had to play another match. So what happened afterwards was that the Austrian team lost to the Polish team, who we're still going to get to see today, Vlk and Jagla, and they lost in 2 straight sets, which meant they had to go into the quarterfinal. While the Slovenian girls were able to win the second match against the Danish duo, also 2-0, which also meant that they both advanced to the quarterfinal. So we're going to go a little bit on their whole route, and then we're going to talk a little bit about volleyball and water, and then we're going to talk about the game. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop some comments, but otherwise I'll just keep talking away. So in the quarterfinal, which was then today, Zoya and Maya from Slovenia met the Latvian duo of Ozolina, and with the defining 2-0 win, they advanced into the semifinal, where the formerly mentioned Polish duo beat them, and again in a heartbreaking 15-13 in the third set. So that was the way of the Slovenian girls, and the Austrian girls beat the Czechoslovakian duo this morning in the quarterfinal, again very tight, ending 17-15 in the third. So you see there was a lot of tight matches. And in the semifinals, they lost against the local favorites, the cousins Lovshin, who we're also going to see later on. And they're also the defending champs from last year. So this has been a little bit the route from both teams. We had 8 teams, like mentioned, in both genders competing from different countries. And here we are now fighting for the bronze. Zoya and Maya, we're seeing right now on the screen, they're otherwise both defenders, so we don't usually see them in block. That's why there was also this big reaction right now when they made that point. And you see there, this is the spectacular part about the volleyball on water. As you can imagine, as they are walking around on this platform, and they always have to lift their feet out of the water, it's not the easiest to move. I'm not going to say that the platform is slippery, it's not, but at the same time, it's not easy to move. It's very hard to still change direction. You can get a good grip, but you cannot, it's not that easy to go, like try to go right and then go left. So that makes it a little bit special. Also, from those of you who are used to from beach volleyball, let me just tell you that the court is a little bit smaller. If you can see the platform, the edges of the platform, they make basically a beach volleyball court, and then you can see that the actual line, those are the LED lines, and they are 7x7 on each side, so basically 1 meter less on each side than there is the beach volleyball court, or an additional meter to make it an indoor court, which would be 9x9. So it's very important that they have the lights there, so if they're closing on, or they're very close to the edge, they know that they're about to have no resistance, and they will fall into the water. So very important also for the safety, but as you can see, we've been doing it really well. You can see where the water splashes. This is usually the best indicator to see if the ball is in or out. Otherwise, there is no ball mark, there's nothing else. So the referees also have a tough job. And you can see the splash was directly on the line. And another one. Slovenia just kind of going off right now. And this is, of course, very pleasing to the spectators in Ljubljana. So, as a local team, they're going to have most of the crowd on their side. You can see another boat passing by. You can see also that we have our lovely helpers, volunteers on the boats and on the stand-up paddles, which also makes it a special entertainment and special excitement. You can see here on the boat camera. This is going to be a little bit of difficult for Zoya and Miha if they're going to keep setting the ball too tight to the net. A dominant blocker, Kati Holzer, will of course thank them for that. So one of their goals probably will be to keep the ball a little bit further off the net so that they can easier attack and move it away. Very good there from Miha, goes through the middle, makes Kati and Mihi choose their sides, and actually comes up with a pretty easy side out. So for those of you who are wondering, we're playing regular sets to 21, just like we know it from beach volleyball, at 21 plate points. We have a technical timeout, which we're experiencing right now. And that also means that the players get to drink a little bit, they get to also dance if they want to, whatever they need to make them feel good. And Miha and Zoya are taking those good vibes with them. And getting the crowd on their end. This could be a deciding factor for them. Whenever you get in trouble. Ooh, another interesting boat passing by. It looks like the Ljubljana boat traffic just increased today when people found out there's this amazing platform volleyball on water. And Zoya going on one. Oh, I'm sorry. I said earlier it was a technical timeout. We already done with set 1, which went to Slovenia, and now we're at 1-1. So sorry about that. But like I mentioned earlier, we've seen a lot of 3-setters already. So the one thing that we can be sure that no team is going to give up easily. It's also not that easy to serve. Like I mentioned before, most of us were used to having a little bit more of the court. Here it's a meter less on every side, so usually the serving pressure is a little bit less. And also whenever the players decide to shoot, you see on a beach volleyball court that would have been in, it landed on the platform, but since the actual lines are a meter in, so the players still have some space around the court. This ball ended just out. Also, one thing that you'll probably notice is as soon as a defender leans on one side, it's almost impossible to change direction, which makes it very hard for them. But I think we've talked enough about, or we're going to use the early points to talk a little bit more about what volleyball on water represents. So the first time we've had volleyball on water, it's an idea from the organizer. It's the marketing agency called Extreme in Slovenia. They do a lot of fun events, but they came up with this idea when Slovenia was hosting, I'm not sure if it was the European Championships or the World Championships. It was definitely for both they did it. I just don't know which one was first. We can celebrate a block with Zoya here. Like I said, usually a defender, so she celebrates them double. But they decided that, it would be a great idea if players would basically be walking and running on water, and this is what we're seeing right now. and this is the product. So they figured out a way how to get this platform standing and being basically fixated in water. As you can see on the players are wearing a little bit of socks, which are like the same neoprene, the same as for diving, same as for basically beach volleyball when it gets too hot, so that they get a better grip on the platform. As you can see, we can see the top of the socks looking out, so the platform is about 10 to 15 centimeters underwater. I don't have the exact measurements, but I'm just going to call it 12 centimeters. If anybody wants to disagree, you're more than welcome. But that's why you see, like, every step they take, they have to basically lift their feet or lift their legs out of the water and then try to get closer to the ball. So that's why the a little bit smaller court makes a lot of sense. Some of you are wondering also, what is this ball that we're playing with? Some of you have already noticed it while during snow volleyball events. The big advantage of this ball is that it doesn't soak so much water. If you would be playing with regular beach volleyballs, they would get heavy as like medicine balls that you might know from, your PE classes, your sports. Yeah, and you can see that this one kind of floats on water or swims, and it's still about the same size and same weight, which makes it a lot easier for everybody. And again, I think this is already the third block we're seeing from Zoya. She might change her profession from a beach volleyball defender to become a blocker. And that means we're switching sides at 7-all. In case you're wondering who the players are, serving, although unsuccessful this time, but with a tactical short serve, was Miha, who usually plays in a combination with Tjasa Kotnik, a little bit more known out of the beach volleyball world. And over there, she already has medals at the World Tour. Zoya is one of her, I'm even going to call it best friends. And she's a little bit younger, and she's a rising youngster in Slovenia. On the other hand, on the other side, we have Kati Holzer, who's about to set that ball. She's I'm not even going to call her a former Austrian indoor superstar, one of their best players they had in indoor. Also did some stunts in beach volleyball, played actually in the major in Austria, so basically the highest level in beach volleyball. They tried to recruit her to come over to beach volleyball, but she decided to stay in indoor, where she's also making slowly her retreat. Her partner Mihi, she's actually also the president of her club, which is Bergstrand Volleyball, or I don't know if she's the president, but like definitely runs the club. And if you're ever around, I think it's, before I say something wrong, it's Salzburg and Klagenfurt. And if you want to get good training, you should definitely hit up Bergstrand. And Mihi has just broken it into the top 10 in Austria. A player that keeps training and keeps developing in all aspects. So also very glad to have her here. So we're going to see the advantage on the Austrian side will definitely be a little bit more the physicality, as they're both taller, and the advantage on the Slovenian side should be a little bit more the ball control, should be a little bit more, the small plays that they do. So we will see who will end up winning, and right now it's looking pretty good for Slovenia, with leading 1-0 in sets and 12-9 in the second set. There you can also see that we are in the center of Ljubljana, and the people can either go on a boat. Of course, you will never miss out on nice selfies with your wife, and hopefully with the background of volleyball on water. Or you can go into the stands. We actually have a natural, I'm gonna call it an auditorium. So there's basically like not a natural, it was still built, but basically stands where you can always sit down comfortably, get a drink, get something to eat, and watch the girls and later on the boys as well. When I was mentioning the physicality of Austria, Mihi just displays it and crushes that ball. Kind of reminded of when you're on the having your summer vacation, you pick up the stones and you just try to see how many times it's going to bounce. I think Mihi wanted to join that competition and she's winning right now. But also there's still space, if you can see it over there, like right behind the referee. This is basically the main, I'm going to call it the promenade in Ljubljana. We're basically in the city center. When the camera is going to show us also like a little bit more from the bottom up, we're going to be able to see the castle in the background. So we're basically at the prime. Oh, jump set, quick jump set from Miha. So you can see that the tactics from Slovenia is to try to move Austria as much as they can with short serves, long serves, make their side out creation impossible, and then be quick on their feet, move away from the block, and you can see the celebration there from Miha. What a play. Might have had a little bit of soccer skills in there. It looked like almost like a chess stick, but definitely very, very good. Their serving strategy is paying off. They're moving the Austrians quite a lot. Now Mihi goes on two, and what a lovely dive from Zoya in the backcourt. Since I've missed the beginning, I'm just going to start counting now, but I still want to see the first dive off the platform, which basically means that the ball bounces to the side and the players then have to go, oh, and Kati Holzer showing what she used to do all the time, dominate at the net. You can also see her determined look, which tells us that, look at that, just reaching over, slight adjustment towards the middle. Definitely a height advantage. Looks like our score is lagging a little bit right now. It says 15-11 on our screens, but since we're switching sides, that probably means 16-12 or 17-11, but I'm going to tip for 16-12. But as you know, we switch every 7 points. There you go. We also fixed that, 16-13. Austria trying to put pressure on the serve to make sure that they can score a few breaks. So in the last 25 years, we've seen in beach volleyball, we have moved from, or in volleyball in general, we have moved from the so-called side-out scoring, where you had to serve in order to be able to score. Otherwise, it was just a switch of who is serving, to rally scoring. But that doesn't change the game that much, because at the end, if it's just constant side-outs, meaning that the team that is receiving, scoring, it's still going to be a no game. So it's at the end, it's still who makes more side-out, more breaks, which means scoring on your own serve. The Austrians currently, they would need to do 5 breaks. So you can know that Zoya is going to laugh it off. But this was what we just saw was a demonstration of the height from Kati. Like I said, one of the world's best players in indoor volleyball. She played really for the top teams, and she showed that when she has the ball on the net, it's really easy for her to hit straight down. Zoya wanted to fight, and yeah, everybody laughed it off. All good. At the end, it only counts for 1 point. And Zoya and Miha are getting dangerously close to securing this match. Only 2 points away. There must have been a touch, yes. Mihi going on 2. 19-15. So this is sort of the last couple of chances. What you can also hear in the back, if they get too close to the net, there are the hands from Kati, and this means we're going to switch at 19-16, which also means only 3 breaks or 2 points for Slovenia. 3 breaks for Austria to go even, and 2 points for Slovenia to close this match. Oh, I think this ball was out, also confirmed from our referee. Just long. And you can hear it in the background, Slovenia. That means that everybody in the crowd is cheering for Slovenia. Mihi basically hitting over the block, 2017. But Slovenia played it very, very smart, moving the Austrians from their position, making them work to get in a good position on the net. And that has been the key to success, and also keeping the ball, as you can see, a little bit away from the net so that Kati cannot reach straight over and basically take all the angles away. This time Zoya misses by a little bit, the ball gets stuck in the net, and we're greeting also the people in the stands. VIP. Again, the ball away from the net, Zoya can go to one side, but there is Mihi, the ball was in, which means Maya gets a second chance, and there was a touch from Kati, which means 21-18, game, set, and match, we're gonna call it, for Slovenia, for Zoya and Maya. Maya has played many, many times. Zoya, I think this is her second time playing on water, so she's going to be even more so proud of her medal and her result. As you can see, Austria is also happy with their appearance. This is a very, very special setup that is there. It's one of a kind in the whole world. The marketing agency Extreme are the only ones, and we're going to see the dive into the Ljubljanica river after the match. Those were Zoya and Maya, and here go Kati and Mihi. You guys can decide who had the better aesthetics. Since I'm a little bit biased coming from Slovenia, I'm always going to pick the Slovenian girls. But I also think that there was a lot of style points with Austria, Mihi and Kati. And here you can see one of the bridges that are there. If you haven't been to Ljubljana yet, we can definitely recommend it. This is one of the top locations here in the city center. You can walk on both sides of the river where you can get some amazing food and drinks, while also having some spectacular views in the green city of Ljubljana. So are we going to see another dive now from... That was a very special move from Maya. Not sure what to call that one. But as you can see, there's still a few seats available and open. So if you guys want to join, go there before it gets full. There's going to be more music. There's going to be more action. There's I'm going to call it an animation program, which means that there's going to be some dance groups. There's going to be obviously music. There's an announcer there. Afterwards, of course, there might be a little party if you want to join. Right now we're going to check the schedule to see what comes up next. So the next match is going to be the men's bronze. It's going to start only in 20 minutes, so you guys get a little bit of a break. But it's going to be between Brazil and France. Brazil and France. So you guys can, of course, pick a side. But both of them have been to this event a couple of times before, so they're very familiar, especially the French guys. They said they're going to keep playing until they win it. They're getting closer and closer. They were so close last year. Lost basically in the final with just a 2-point differential. So it's not going to be this year that they're going to win it, but they can for sure grab another medal. And on the other side, we're going to have one of the biggest showmen in Marcio Gaudi with his partner Miha Tawil. I'm probably mispronouncing the name, so I'm very sorry about that. My Brazilian is not the best, neither is my Portuguese. But you guys can be sure that it's going to be a spectacular match. I will check if they have already met before. It's not that it's the most important, but you can... No, they haven't met before. We will go a little bit more on their their road to the bronze medal. When we're looking at Maya and Zoya like this, it seems like they're already ready to sing the national anthem. They're gonna have to wait, of course, for the prize ceremony, which is gonna be after. But there's the boat coming to pick them up, so they don't have to swim back to shore. But after the game, and also to the game, there is the boat. So as you can see, they're being helped on the boat. So it's a very unique experience in so many ways. At the same time, we're having our organizers lift the net and get us ready for the men's bronze medal. After that, we also have both of the finals, of course, so there's lots more actions. And I will just check what kind of other program we have. So after the second bronze medal match, there's going to be also a band playing before the women's final. We're going to call them the Voice of Ljubljanica. And then we're going to have the women's final. And then after we have Magic Ljubljanica. And then we also have a dance show. So with this in mind, I'm going to clock out for the next 10 minutes. Let's make it 15, and I will join you again 5 minutes before the start of the bronze medal match, which is scheduled for 1950, so in 20 minutes. So you're going to be able to see the Brazilians and the French players coming onto the court, warming up a little bit before the show hits the road. So enjoy. Dober večer, dame in gospodje, as they would say in Slovenia. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Volleyball on Water. Right now we're seeing the contestants for the bronze medal match. On your left-hand side, Brazil with Marcio and Michel, and on the right-hand side, France with Malo and Iskander, but also the Before we start with the match, of course, we should take a look at the surroundings. We are in beautiful Ljubljana, one of the most green cities, if not the most, in all of Europe, if not the whole world. I am a little bit biased, but not too much. So if you ever want to visit, my recommendation is to go to Slovenia. My recommendation is to feel Slovenia, as you can see in the upper right corner. My recommendation is also to visit Ljubljana. That should stay somewhere in the bottom. I think it's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Number 4 in there. So make sure you visit Ljubljana as well. We are in the city center. This is the Ljubljanica river. What you can see is the promenade around it where people can gather, and from the top, basically from the bridges or from the promenade, directly watch onto the court. We're still on our floating platform, 16 times 8 meters. It's each half of the platform. The net has been raised from 224 to 243. That means men's height. And we see Marcio on the left discussing with our referee Branka and Isk how they're going to start. They're going to do a coin toss. I hope she doesn't lose it in the water. But if she does, it's going to be, of course, good fortune. You can see that Branka squats down to catch that impressive coin toss. Handshake, and we're going to be starting in 3 minutes. Marcia is like, I'm ready to go. Do you really want to go? I think your watch is not running anymore. It's not water resistant. But she is, of course, right. She has the right time. In 3 minutes, we'll be going. Let's see if the Brazilian charm worked and he convinced her to go earlier. But the guilt-free staff is also handing out some, I'm going to guess it's ice cream. So even better than listening to me is being in Ljubljana, getting some guilt-free ice cream. I've tried it actually once. It was at one of the biggest fitness forums, but whatever they're called, congresses, and it was delicious, so I can recommend it, and it's guilt-free, so that's why I was also working the fitness stuff. Here you can see the Ljubljana dragon. Dragon is a little bit of the symbol for the city of Ljubljana. Our lovely ball helpers they used to be from Lelosi, but on stand-up pedals they can also sit down. And the last chats, the last warm-up hits, the warm-up serves before we start the bronze medal match. In case you guys are wondering how those guys made it all the way to the bronze, let me answer those questions. So, in the semi-final, the French team unfortunately lost to Alan Koshenina, the ambassador, the true volleyball water icon, and Martin Melmuka from Czech. So it's a Slovenian-Czech combo that they lost to in 2 sets. That's what they're playing the bronze. In the quarterfinal, they beat the Slovenian record beach volleyball champion Daniel Pokrčnik with his partner Denis Rubida. Daniel has been a 10-time Slovenian beach volleyball champion, and they won in 3 sets, 15-10 in the third. It was all very close. That's how they secured the semifinal spot, and now they're playing for the bronze. On the other hand, we have the Brazilian combo Gaudi Tawil. They, in a second rematch, they lost again to the team from New Zealand, and yes, we're gonna have some Kiwis in the final as well. Now you already know we're gonna have New Zealand facing off the Slovenian-Czech combo in the final. So very entertaining. I can tell you the guys are very, very physical. So it's definitely a show you don't want to miss. But that's why Marcio and Michel are playing the bronze. In the quarterfinal, they actually got a bye because the German team couldn't continue. So it was 21-0, 21-0 officially in the score sheets. We're still waiting for the update from the German team, what exactly happened. But now you know how they got here. And we're about to start. And we're starting with a sky ball from Isk. That is a new serve that is being used in beach volleyball. He tries to send the ball very, very high, so it lands steep, changes the angle of the trajectory, how it falls, which makes it difficult for the reception. Iskander and Malo, they're good friends. In France, they actually, when we're talking about all the different surfaces, in France they play a lot on grass, so which means that's usually they play 3 against 3, but they're a team there. Malo actually doesn't play that much beach volleyball. He's on all other forms, but you're going to see that he's got an impressive height at the front of the net. And like I said, they lost in the final last year. Very close. Very, very close to winning it. But they didn't want to be. But that's why hopefully we're going to get to see more of them in the next years trying to secure that title. Malo trying to use his height to go over on 2. The net was in the way. And that means 3-2 is the first lead for Brazil. Here we see Marcio, also a player from the Brazilian tour. You're going to see he's a true showman. He moves quick, has a good overview, can also spike it straight down. We're probably going to see like a chest or a football dig in there. I hope I'm not promising too much, but Marcio is a born entertainer, so definitely looking to see more. And here he always plays with his good friend, who may be from the volleyball community, not so well known, but they make a good team and very unpredictable team. And we see Is going again for the sky ball, this time landing short, making it difficult for Michel to control that. It looks like it's going to be the strategy for the game, but we'll see if Marcio can take all of them away. It will be quite difficult. Finding the spot in between the blocker and the defender is, of course, Marcio Gaudí. So again, I was mentioning earlier, I would need to look in the statistics, but I think this is like the 4th or the 5th time already that Ljubljanica has volleyball on water. As you can see, it's not that easy to move when there's so much water. And I promised you that Marcio has some flexibility in his arm. He can go chop it back to the line. Everything showing angle, but able to turn at the last moment to the line. Branca deciding that Malo was in the net. That's why Malo is a little bit complaining. He said, I didn't feel it, but we're going to have to trust our referee on this one. It's not an easy job there. As you can see, there's no ball marks. Iskander and Malo, they're known for Isk putting the ball on 2 for Malo. Sometimes then he can finish it himself too, but he prefers his partner taking all the hitting away from him. And Marcio saying, I can do that too, although I don't have to always jump. Like I said, a very tricky player. We're going to see a lot more of him. Also, his partner wants him to go over on 2, which makes it quite a good combo. The very tricky part is how to play defense. You have to move fairly late, but you cannot move as fast as you can probably do on a hard surface or you can do in sand. So that makes it a little bit easier for the attacker to see it. So Brazil leading 8-6. Another sky ball attempt, but I think Is can go a little bit higher. And as you see, Marcio getting a tight set, but he doesn't mind. He just swipes it off hits it off very quick before Malo can get formed and get his hands completely over. Malo on 2. And this is what we're going to be seeing a lot today. Malo 2, Marcio as well. Also coaching up his partner. As you can see, they definitely want to get this medal. France trying to move Brazil in reception. And we already have our fan club joining us. You can hear the loud screams in the background. So if you're in Ljubljana, of course, you would want to loudly support your team. You want them to perform well. I will say that since from the past years, the experience has been that France is a little bit of a favorite in this match, but that's not going to stop Brazil to try to compete. As I've mentioned before, we still have a couple of finals left, the women and the men's final. We also have a couple of performances, and this is just warming us up, just like the shoulder and arm of Marcio is. You can also hear in the background that if you're there, it's a true party. You have Uros Bitens right now warming up everybody in the stands. We also have a DJ at location. And I can also tell you that the volleyball on water is gonna keep happening. Hope I'm not saying too much, but I'm pretty sure that next year we're gonna see another edition of the volleyball on water in Ljubljana. I think Extreme is also ready to take it overseas, which means the Slovenian marketing agency, they are ready to also take that concept to other countries. So if you know, there's a few important factors. You know, the river, if it's got too much of a current, it's very difficult to fixate the it's very difficult to fixate the court, the platform. So that's why that has to fit. It's also helpful if it's in the city center like it is in Ljubljana, on the Ljubljanica river. And here we see a little close-up of Michel. And Malo this time stopping Marcio. I couldn't lip read this, but I'm pretty sure Marcio wasn't too happy with it. Like I said, a very good player. Played also a lot of the Banco de Brazil. As you can see, he can go left and right arm. Saying to his partner, I got one side, so you gotta take the other side. Don't double me. I will take care of my side, so I want you on the other half. This sign meant that Marcio was in the net, which leaves us a little bit bigger lead to France. They're up. They're up 2 points, France, and everybody's getting excited. There was a couple of dives in the water. The t-shirt gets soaked, so you can no extra weight needed for ISK. While Brazil talks over their strategy. Yeah. But like I said, I think the marketing agency Extreme, also the organizer, the promoter of this event, also the originator of this sport, let's call it, volleyball on water. Volleyball is known to be played on many different surfaces. We all know indoor volleyball, we know beach volleyball, then most of us have heard about snow volleyball. Now we have, in France, they play a lot on grass, and it was just logical that volleyball on water will be next. The Slovenians, the first ones to make it happen. While we have, looks like France figuring a little bit out Brazil and taking already a 4-point lead. And as soon as I mention this, there's the point for Brazil. So for anybody who's just joined us now, the court is a little bit smaller. It's half is 7 times 7 meters. So you can see the first LED lights, those mark the edges of the court. The second make the edge of the platform, which means that the players know that they're about to step into no resistance and they will fall into the water. Malo doing a signature Luka Doncic move. When you don't get a high five, you just high five yourself. It wasn't bad blood, it was just they were too far away, they didn't see it. I wonder if we're going to get to see ever a true jump serve on water, just because I mentioned earlier. The court is smaller, which makes it more difficult to get the ball with pressure onto the court. So we see a lot more tactical choices, or the so-called net rollers. Brazil, of course, not too happy about it. As you can also see, the games go by a little bit faster because, the ball is never too far away, especially with our stand-up paddlers. If you ever want to apply for that job, you can go to the website of Extreme and send them an email saying, hey, I want to be part of that. Also, if you want to play, there's been some discussion that there will be an official online application to a certain deadline. As of right now, this has been an invitation only tournament. So people were only able to go by reference. Marcio wiggling the finger, trying to get a little bit fired up. Marcio is known for some maybe small discussions under the net, but he doesn't mean it bad. It's just a little bit to get extra fire. As you saw there, like although the referee first showed that it's point for Brazil, Marcio admitted the touch and the point went to France. So as you see, it's still in a sense of fair play. But we're also entering the crunch time, so we're going to see who's got a little bit more of the tactical choices. (1916) means we're only 2 points away from winning the first set. As you can see, if you're going to be too late to Ljubljana, you might have to stand in the second or third row, and you're going to have to lean over to possibly see what's happening. And there you see Marcio, the showman. He's going to show how to put the ball over the net. He didn't succeed. And this will be the first set. 21-16 to France. Iskander will not need to use his newly learned serve from Brazil again, at least not in this set. What you can see he does really well is put up that first reception up to the net so his tall, athletic partner Malo Puncarnier can go up and just basically spike. What he also does very well is he does not pass the ball directly in front of him, but he moves it a little bit more to Malo's side, which makes it very difficult for the blocker to follow. But so you can see that most of the time Malo is basically there without a block. We can see that the game is a little bit heated. Marcio doing a little bit of, let's call it trash talking through the net, but like I said, it's not meant in any bad way. Just to get a little bit more fire, maybe try to distract the opponents to make a couple of errors more. Whatever you can do within the rules of volleyball always helps. But like I mentioned before, France is not new to this, let's call it surface or sport. What an impressive first dig from Marcio, and then reaching with his left to be there earlier than the block of Malo, which will be the first lead in the second set. As we mentioned before, it's not that easy. The water is only about somewhere between, and if you're living in the city center of Ljubljana, you can just open up a bottle of wine and just enjoy the view. Thank you to our production team for showing this. There's more people enjoying that on the stands or from their comfort of their own home. This time sending Marcel with the back line, and what a spectacular dig! Oh, and even like a little bit of a feisty look after. This Bender is like, I got this, shaking his head. I think there's a little bit of fire in this game. But Marcio also has some tricks up his bag. Yeah, I'm enjoying this side story there a little bit. Marcio giving them a little bit of extra fire and France taking it on. So we'll see what kind of aces they pull out of the sleeves next. And as you can see, the front row is already taken. If you're trying to text and film at the same time and also have one of those, what are they even called? But things for like, to make it a bit cooler, to mix up the air, you just have to take it into your mouth so you can be filming. No touch on this one is the call, which means the point goes to France. Like I said, France is probably the favorites in this game. They go up 5-2. You see the players always pass the ball to the boat, where we have a few of those originally snow volleyball balls, but they're also quite useful in the water as they do not soak in so much water. And let's say over time they do not get heavier or not that much heavier. I've actually never played on water, but it looks quite fun. If you guys, everybody wants to try it, there's a couple. Marcio diving off. I guess it needs to cool off. Getting a little bit too heated, he decided to cool off a little bit. It's also a great strategy to stall. You can see that he's an experienced player. He's going to use all the tricks in his bag, trying to distract France, trying to get them off of their cool. But France is very, very good. 7-2. Looks like I'm not going to say that it's over already. There's still plenty of time for Brazil to make a comeback, but everything is tipping France's way. There's a ball on the court, doesn't happen very often. But it goes back to the boat, where we have a few of them. And like I mentioned, we're going to see some more from the showman. Earlier he told them, don't serve at me because this is what's going to happen. Another spectacular player that we're going to get to see later is the Slovenian Alan Košinina, former national team player. Also with Maribor he won the national championships. Oh, and a couple of points from Brazil, and Marcio firing up his partner, saying it's not over yet. But we're also going to get to see Alan Košinina in a duo with Martin Melmuka, who's actually last year's champion. But since the tournament is getting so popular, we didn't get him back in time, and that meant that Martin was still available and Alan couldn't find a partner in Slovenia, so he decided to go to team up with the former champion. Let's see if he can get some of that championship mentality or blood or whatever it is transferred to him as well. And they're going to be facing off the Kiwis, New Zealand, Ben O'Day and Jack McManaway, who are off of a few tournaments in Europe, playing at challengers in beach volleyball. Decided to take their skills also to volleyball on water. So Branka, our referee, she usually checks who just served. That's how she knows what the order is. And I mentioned it earlier. I kind of want to see more jump serves, but you also saw how difficult that is. The court is just so short that as soon as you put a little bit of power on it, it goes outside of the court. We saw it now also with Malo. Oh, Iskander going for the swing. The referee says no touch. That means the ball gets called out. And we hear some booing from the stands. Looks like France has got a few. France has got a few fans on their side. As another boat on the Ljubljanica River passes by. And there's celebrations. I wonder what group is celebrating so hard for France right now. Too bad we don't have a camera on them. Another great defense from Isk, but Marcio with the block. And there's quite a lot of trash talk. Branca saying he was in the net. No? Oh, it was the French team saying that he was in the net. He had to take a step back to show that he wasn't. That was quite funny. Oh, and another defense. Let's see if Marcio can convert. Like I said, a very good player, very good attacker. Reduces the score to 9-11. $12-9 is going to be the technical timeout, and I guess it's time for us to again have a look what else is waiting for us. Like I said, we're going to have a couple more finals coming up. In the women's final, we're going to have Slovenia and Poland, the Loshin cousins versus Volleyball from Poland. And in the men's final, that is scheduled at 10 o'clock. So women's final at 9, exactly at 9. So we're going to have quite a long break now in between. But we also have a few spectacular shows for you. It's going to be, what were they called again? Voice of Ljubljanica by Classy Band is going to join us at 8:45. So make sure you don't miss that. And 10 minutes before the men's final, we're going to have Magic Ljubljanica by Magic Alexander. And after the men's final, there's also The Waterman. It's a great story from a great Slovenian poet who also wrote the national anthem. So, the referee calls it in. As like I said, if we get a replay, you guys can judge for yourself. The only thing we have to go off is basically the splash of the water. Marcio taking another dip, handing off the cap so it doesn't get too wet before he goes for the dip. In a discussion, so probably now the discussion is you're taking too much time with the extra dips. You're not allowed to do that, or let's limit it to a minimum. We want to keep the show on the road. Iskander and Malo. Iskander on defense and Malo using all of his height. Like I said, they're a team that has done that a lot. They also play together with a lot of the grass tournaments, so they also know what the other person is doing. A proven combo, and there we have the showman Marcio going with the kick swing, looking under the net. That is all to try to distract and get in the head of France. France is getting a little bit under the skin, but they're still doing a very good job. But let's look at that again. Short one, just kick it. The Brazilian flair is definitely alive, and then a very good, powerful swing. And you can see now it's getting darker, so we're turning on the lights, which will also change the vision. We have a guy flexing. But like I said, if you want to participate in this event, they will pretty sure there will be another one in Ljubljana. As you can see, it's a huge success. A lot of people always join us at location. We're also adding the digital experience to it. Looks like one of our microphones went swimming a little bit. That's all good. But one way to, and here we see the guy who's still waiting for the final in the blue shirt. That's Alan Košinina from Slovenia, former national team player, former national champion in indoor volleyball, now the best representative for volleyball on water. But besides helping out on, you know, any kind of help the organizers might need, maybe you can talk to Cut Production if they need help with the live stream, or you can apply to be to be join as a player. Next year, there's going to be basically open. Ooh, interesting call. The ball gets called out. The splash was very close to the line, and earlier France got the call. Now Brazil got the call. There is no challenge system in here. I was talking to a few of the players on that play in the water and was asking them about tips. What do they think is the most important? What do you think can be done? A lot of them mentioned how difficult it is to move on defense, how difficult it is to actually get that first step, push out of the water, and then actually make some surface. Ooh, and the block from Marcio. Malo trying to go down the line, but this time there was the hands in front. That ball is called out, which means 18-15, and we're only 3 points away from France taking this bronze medal, which would just add to their medal count. So I know they have silver and bronze. Not sure if the first year they were here they also took something, but definitely a very experienced team. And if you feel like you want to play on water, and you feel like it would be possible to do it also somewhere in your city, make sure you contact the marketing agency called Extreme from Slovenia. They are the pros behind this. They originated the idea of this floating platform with LED lights on the Ljubljanica River. And by what I heard from their CEO is that they're also ready to go international, which means when they find some good spots and good local support, that they'll also try to make this event more than once per year, meaning not only in Ljubljana, but also somewhere else. Well, Brazil's saying we're not done yet, reducing to 18-19, which means they're only one break away to actually evening the score, and that could mean that we're going to 3 sets. Let's see what France has to say about that. This time going over Malo. Ooh, not a... Marcio enjoyed that set from Iskander and just hitting it down for a 19 all. That means we got ourselves a game. Let's see who can. Is it going to be a match ball or a set ball? Ooh, and a defense finish. Oh, and a block from Malo. Was going to make it a first match ball, France. Marcio couldn't get really his hand on the ball, which made it 2019. And now Malo with the defense. The ball going over. Marcio there. But so is Isk.
And that was a touch, 21-19, and that means France won it. Little claps for Malo and Is. They will, of course, shake hands with the referee Branka from Slovenia and the opponent who already went diving. Let's see what kind of style points we can give to France on their jump in the water. Of course, they're such sportsmen, they're waiting for the handshake before they do it. Thank their fans. But I'm still waiting for the jump in the water. Brazil will take multiple ones and swim back to shore. Not waiting for the boat. I'm not sure if we have a camera in the players area, but you could also see that the players, it's actually a quite entertaining group. They like to hang out. They spend a lot of time together. Although, as you saw now on the court, it gets very, very competitive, even with some trash talk under the net or through the net. And that means that they hang out outside of the game, but during the game they try to win. And also what I wanted to mention was that in their players area they also spend some time in jacuzzi. I don't know if you got to see. Oh, over there in the background we see Tommy Schmidt, the German player who also participated, but unfortunately got a little bit of a sickness. So he couldn't continue. But of course, we wish him a great recovery. But it seems like he's feeling better if he's already on the court or next to the court. But yeah, with this, we're going to conclude also our bronze medal match, and we're going to go over to our sponsors. We're going to give you a few more highlights from the game, as this football kick, for example, and then a powerful hit. Flexing. Celebration is also important. The Brazilians, of course, know all about it.
Še posebno treba Majan, ki ga mama snema tukaj z Podeljano, violini, deseti vrsti ne tresejo preveč. All right. Ljubljana, are you ready? We're gonna hear some live classy music from classy band just for this performance.
A už to může od mele.
Spoštovane dame in gospodje, ladies and gentlemen, mesdames et messieurs, we are back. And that means more volleyball action on the volleyball on water event. Several ones in a row already. As you can see, the stands are getting full. There's people standing in the second, third, and even fourth line at the end, trying to catch glimpses of it. So if you want to join, as you can see, the last seats are getting, I see an empty one there, so you can still go to the third row, chair number 17 still available, but not much more than that. Looks like the white shirt is going to take it. Nope, walking right past it. But here are our finalists. Representing Slovenia, we have the Loshin cousins. First one of them is Taida. Second one is Nina. That's the order they were standing. They have both been on this stage last year and took home the win, and they're hoping to do the same thing this year. And like I said, nobody knows each other as well as the two cousins. They've played volleyball when they were kids. Not always together, sometimes against each other, but they realized it's sometimes even better to play on the same team. So right after we had the the musical performance, and the net was removed, we have to put the net back up so that the ladies can go on the court and play. So we're still a few minutes away. The ladies are gonna get a couple of minutes on the court to prepare. So no rush. If you need to go to the toilet, if you need to grab a drink to enjoy the final, feel free. You're not gonna miss that much now. You're gonna miss some spectacular views of Ljubljana, but I promise our production team is gonna share them with you later as well. So don't be afraid to leave for a second or two. But like I said, if you don't have to, it's better here. Here we're also seeing our Polish friends, Małgorzata Wlk and Monika Jagla. I am, of course, not from Poland, so I am mispronouncing that, so I apologize to everybody. But as long as we know who we're talking about, I think the ladies are going to forgive us, or particularly me. You guys didn't do anything wrong. But just to go back to it, Małgorzata was here already last year, and if I remember correctly, she was in the final, playing with a different partner. This year she decided to be here with Miss Jagla. I am definitely not pronouncing it right, so apologies again. As you can see, we're also entering the nighttime in Ljubljana, which of course means a little bit of a darker setting, but doesn't stop our boat, our stand-up pedals, the party. The lights are gonna come on, of course, for the ladies, so there you go. Just on cue. The final fixes to the net, and then we'll be able to enjoy a gold medal match. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. But in case you're wondering how this came above, so the marketing agency Extreme, they do a whole bunch of events, anything from biking, Spartan, sliding, and some weird skiing. I cannot even name all of them, but they do a lot of crazy fun stuff. And they had the idea of why not play volleyball on water. They were saying like this would be like people walking on water. It would look spectacular, and looks like they were right. So they decided to sink a platform which is basically 8 meters wide and 16 meters long, basically the length or the size of a beach volleyball court. And then they put 2 sets of LED lights on it, one on the outside so the players know when they're about to hit the water, and the second one just a meter in, basically making each half of the court 7 times 7 meters. The net height is the same as in all the other indoor and beach volleyball events, which means 243 for the men, 224 for the women, and they're moving around in about 10 to 15 centimeters deep water, which makes it a little bit hard to get their feet out of the water and to take that long or steps. However, you're going to see they manage just fine. We want to make sure the net is perfect, the lighting is working as well. There's going to be more lights so the players can see the volleyball, and so can you. But just enjoy. Until then, just enjoy the views. If you don't have any plans or ready for next year, it's probably going to be in July. Why not? Looks like it's a great date to do it. you might want to book a trip to Ljubljana. In the upper right corner, you see I Feel Slovenia, the only country that has love in it. What a great marketing slogan. So go ahead and experience and feel some love while coming to Slovenia. Since I am from there, I can guarantee you that it is like that. And also, as you can see, Ljubljana can put on a show. They have a whole bunch of events in city center, not just this one. So even if you accidentally book the wrong dates and volleyball in water is not happening, there's a good chance something else will. It is the one of the Europe's greenest cities. Some claim it is the greenest. I'm not going to enter this discussion. This is a very difficult decision to make, but it's definitely among the top ones. So if you're planning, if you don't know where to go on your next trip, Ljubljana has an airport. Book a flight there. If you don't like the flights there, there's quite a few airports close by as well, and where you can then easily shuttle to Ljubljana or make it a multi-city trip. It's definitely going to be worth it. So just do it. That's right. And we are here in the city center, as you can see. And if you're wondering who are the two teams and how they got here, let me go through their games a little bit. So we've been playing here for 2 days. It all started on Friday, July 4th, the American Independence Day, which doesn't matter for us. But the Loshin cousins, they beat in the first game of Pool A, they won against the Czechoslovakian combo Dostalova Pozmikova with 2-0. And then that means they were playing for winning the pool, topping the pool, where they beat in 3 sets. They beat the Latvian combo Ozolina. And that had them qualify for the quarterfinal, or actually directly to the semifinal, where they played against the Austrian team, who you saw in the bronze medal match already, actually taking a 4th place. The Austrians, they lost to the other Slovenian team, Marot Kalar, which also means we already know for sure we're going to have 2 Slovenian teams on the women's podium. The only question now is it going to be bronze and gold, or is it going to be silver and bronze? Either way, their opponents, like I've mentioned, Vlk Jagla. In the first game, they beat our friends from Denmark. I'm not going to try to pronounce the name, Jensen and Litshov Borok. I am going to try to pronounce it, but yeah. And after they won this one in the second game, or the second match, to win the pool, they played again against our Austrian friends, 1-2-0, which had them directly qualified to the semifinal, winning or topping their pool. In the semifinal, they played against our bronze medalist, Kalar Marot, and it was a very even match, 21-16, 19-21, 15-13. Only in the third set, decided by the smallest of point margins possible, Vlk and Jagla took it and catapulted themselves into the final. So, like I said, 2 teams that won both of their matches yesterday, winning their pool. Then they advanced to the semifinal, where also they obviously won their matches, and now they're in the grand final. So the Loshin cousins, not sisters, they are going to try to repeat their last year's success, and Poland is going to try to stay in the way. Obviously, you guys can do, we're not supporting betting here. You can do your own private bets if you want to, but not here. Right here on the screen, you see Taida Loshin, also known from her, especially known from her times playing with Tjasa Kotnik, where they even had multiple top 10 finishes in the Elite 16 of the world. So basically at the highest level in beach volleyball, they have multiple top 10 finishes. So, like I've said, a proven player, currently playing with another Slovenian, Živa Javornik. They unfortunately just missed to qualify for the Euro Champs. It's been a strong battle, but maybe they will still get in there. But this year has been basically all of Europe has been focused on the Euro champs, and since they were a newly formed team, they had to go a little bit with the extra lengths, falling just short. I'm sure they will attempt it again next year. So this is Taida Lushin, and her partner is her cousin Nina Lushin, wearing the number 2, playing on the left side. Nina will do a warm-up hit right now. Nina is known as one of the top Slovenian beach volleyball players. She actually decided at some point that she's going to play a little bit less international, which doesn't mean that anything less of quality. It just meant that less traveling for her, which suited a little bit more her lifestyle. Also known for her physicality. We will see how this combo will perform. Here we see a freshly married man, David Tasko. This is basically his honeymoon. Don't tell his wife I said that. I don't think she agrees. I'm sure she still wants to go on a honeymoon. But known as one of the greatest entertainers we have, always making sure that everybody in the crowd has... Oh, I guess betting is allowed. You can also follow along our sponsors on the wall as they're being projected there. Powerade being one of the, or even the general sponsor. They're gonna power us through this event. But looks like we're finally ready. I don't know if they're having to keep warm or it's just them having fun. They're definitely having fun. Maybe they're also trying to keep warm. But either way, in just a couple of seconds of this, despite the small delay, but as you can see, all the people on the venue, on the location are having fun. So why would we have to rush them and send them home early if we can all enjoy this show for a little bit longer? And this is now the official introduction. So I can guarantee you that the announcers have the same pronunciation as I do, so I didn't do that bad. And they've been seeing them for 2 days. And the girls are not mad, so we're fine. We're off the hook. Sharing the last name, they get a little bit of a shorter introduction. Nina and Taida Lushin, and this means we're gonna get the show on the road. As I might have mentioned before, I am from Slovenia, so I am a little bit biased. I'll try to stay as neutral as I can, but for me the favorites are the last year's winners. Taida with her international experience, and Nina with her physicality, but obviously Gosia, as she goes by her nickname, Malgorzata Volk, has something to say against it, and that's 1-0. Monica also, I know she's a great indoor player, also with some stints on the national team. I would have to look up exactly to know. With a great defense, but Gosia couldn't get in position, which means the ball slipped through her hands. It's always a little bit better if the player has the hands above the head or above the forehead. That means you're in good position and then your arms can push up. If it's too much in front, then it becomes difficult. And a great serve on Gosia means first Slovenian lead, 2-1. Taida, very much known for her good float serves. Float is when the ball doesn't spin and then at a certain speed the ball starts moving a little bit left and right. And for her great defensive work, as you see there, she gets to the ball early and kind of sends Monica a little bit the wrong way. So double smart from Taida on this one, which means Slovenia is up 3-1. So this looks like it will be the strategy for the game. Get Gosia in trouble on her reception. Of course, players that are taller have a little bit more difficulties receiving the ball, as you know, if the ball travels directly at them, it's a little bit harder to judge. As you saw there, the ball goes directly at her, so it's hard to see if the ball is falling short, falling long. The depth perception is not that easy. So, and if she goes on the side, she has longer arms, which makes it more difficult. And Taida Loshin just powering through all the serves and giving Gosia the first swim of the day. Although it was on the platform, we're still waiting for the first jump off the platform in the water. We're for sure going to see it with the boys. We know they're all swimmers. Later on, we're also going to see Ben O'Day, who his favorite free time activity is jumping basically off of bridges. Let's see if they're going to do a spectacular entrance for the final. Oh, that's a good idea. Maybe remind them. But yeah, we're still waiting for the first jump off the platform. And also the other thing that, you guys shouldn't forget, although this looks very spectacular, with all the lights, LED lights, but because the lighting is not as bright as during the day, it makes it harder to track the ball. So we're probably going to see a couple of more of those serves being effective. Not against Monica. Ooh, touch on the block. And touch on defense, not able to control it. That means Poland has arrived in the game as well. What a defense from Monica, and rewarding herself with the quick hit. What I mean by quick was that if you look at the hit, the ball already hit Nina while she was still on the way up, her hands not on the other side. So basically accelerating that hit and making it impossible for the blocker to block. Now we're also... So it looks like Poland chose to go a little bit more over Nina, and Taida with the defense. We're in it for a treat. Still not down. Looks like Gosia touched it on the block. You can see how careful the players are moving. Monica is just flying over this water, reducing the score 7-5. This could also mean that we have one thing to observe now is going to be if the side from Poland right now is a little bit more of a favorable side, just vision-wise, as the Slovenian team went on I think it was a 6-1 first side switch, and now we're almost... Ooh, that called a touch. Yes, Gosia agrees. So that is, of course, very much fair play. 8-5 to Slovenia, but looks like the Poland was able to catch up quite a bit. And Taida back to serve. Let's see if she can continue her run from this side as well. There you can see the light show plus our stand-up paddlers who help us with also not to miss on the boat on the left-hand side, or that brings the players and all the performers onto the court, going for the shorter serve. Gosia able to control a tight set and able to swipe it off the block. So this is a little bit of the decision from the referee. They need to see if the ball was hit. You're not allowed to do an open head tip. But the referee probably deciding that it was a simultaneous contact from both. It was a knuckle from Gosia. That's why she was allowed to do it. Ooh, block with the head. And a little bit late on the second one. 9-6 Slovenia. Oh, that looks like a little bit of rain. That's not going to scare anybody away. But yeah, we can see a few drops landing in the river right now. Ooh. 2 touches on Monica is the call from our referee Branka. Which basically meant that she didn't manage on the first hit to get the ball over, but it got stuck on the tape, and then she touched it again, which made it a double touch. And another great positioning from Monica. Gosia trying to go around on the other side. Just like in every volleyball we have, indoor beach volleyball, snow volleyball, grass volleyball, if the ball passes behind the antenna, also water, the player can go on the other side and return it behind the antenna. So the antennas symbolize the edge of the court, but if the ball needs to pass on the other side between both antennas. If it goes behind an antenna, as you can see now, Gosia with a great off-speed turn, catching Nina a little bit on her false step. Ooh, what a block. And we can safely say now we got ourselves a game. Taida deciding to turn that ball back, but Gosia with a little bit of an indoor blocking swing, hiding her position, getting the hands over on time, and stopping that hit. So they made a little bit of a strategy change. A little bit of confusion there. Poland really celebrated this point until our referee decided that the ball was in, which makes it a 12-9 Slovenian lead. Poland is very much known for their fair play, so maybe even if they had an impression that the ball was out, they're not complaining too much. They're accepting the decision from Branka. And we'll see if they were able to talk some strategy, what they want to change. We saw already a little shift from going and serving at Taida, or actually starting at Nina, then switching a little bit to Taida. We'll see what they will keep on choosing. Slovenia is pretty firm on serving on Gosia or Margorzata. She struggled early with the reception. Now she's already doing better, keeping that ball up in the air so Monica can push it to the net with the second touch, and Gosia then still not always perfectly at the ball, but however using her height. Nina was trying to get a little bit tricky, but I'm pretty sure there was a little bit of water on that ball, which kind of just seemed that it slid through her knuckles. 12-11, and it's going to be an interesting crunch time. Monica with the dive and conversion, 12-all. Both teams also have a timeout, so if they want to take and discuss it over or break the rhythm from the opponent. That was a very fast hit. Again, we see the transfer of the hands from Nina is not there yet, and Taida being caught and stuck with the hands together on defense, and then not being able to put either the left or both of the arms out of the ball on time. Some of those sets from Nina seem a little bit fast. I'm not sure if Taida wants them that way. This one definitely handled well. Able to go over the big block. Maybe Monica moved a little bit too early, but now we're also seeing that the rain drops. Ooh, Nina with the highlight swing. Yeah. I hope our social media team is watching this, because they can definitely clip it and we can show it on Instagram how Nina can power that ball down. Next time I need to ask the referees what they think about, like, can they even see a foot fault, or how would they decide on a foot fault? Either way, the score is 14-13, which means Poland is one break away from tying the game. Taida continuing with her knuckles, but Monica this time running it down. You always have to be careful with the ball on one against Taida. Monica was there this time and finds that line. A little bit of help from the tape, but Monica has been unbelievable so far. You can see that all that experience from indoor volleyball, of course beach volleyball as well. But she's basically just being a little bit too fast for Nina. You see the arms are not formed yet, and it means if the arms are still on the way, not completely over, what happens a lot of times, the ball just will go through. Taira deciding to go for a hard hit this time. However, as I mentioned before, the 7x7 court is a little bit shorter than what we're used to. If you play indoor, it's 2 meters less. If you play beach volleyball, a meter less, which makes it a lot more difficult. Taira being successful with moving around the defense. It's probably a great strategy. We mentioned it before that it's hard to move on defense, and Taira has very good control with the pokey, aka the knuckles. A little bit better than Gosia on the reception. And Monica just stopping herself from before the edge of the platform. We're gonna call a net. Not sure how great it is to fall into the water afterwards. But that reminds me a little bit of that famous water polo picture where you have guys in the water and then they're using plastic bottled water or like just water to basically rinse their eyes. Makes sense though with all the chlorine and all the other stuff in the pool, but still it looks funny. It's kind of the same for the girls now. They're already playing in water, but the water drops from the rain. When they hit your eye, you get blinded for a second, you close your eyes. So it's definitely a factor. Always is in outdoor sports. And the decision is out. I wouldn't want to be making those decisions. As you can see, it's like you can only see the LED lights are below on the platform, so that means there's about 10-15 centimeters of water over it. And then you have to kind of judge where the ball lands. You can see a little bit of a splash, but it's not the easiest. And a very high ball from Nina and Monica with the swing that is just out. We're gonna see it better from this angle. Yeah, difficult to tell because we have that view. We're gonna have to trust Branka on this one. She's not blinded by the lights. She's got that cap, I feel Slovenia, so she's definitely got a good view. And Gosia for the kill. Ooh. She's being called on a reach over, as I mentioned earlier. She did an open hand, so that means that she's got a little bit more control. Whenever we're playing 2 against 2, 3 against 3, this is usually not allowed. You see the open hand, so the decision is if she was the first one to touch that, it was an illegal attack. If they do it both at the same time, then it's basically they were both blocking the ball, simultaneous contact, then it's allowed. Branka decided that it was not allowed, but it only fired up Gosia to get another block, another swing block. Good old indoor times. And the celebration, determination of we wanting to win. Look at that crossover step, which makes it a little bit harder for the opponent to see where they're at. Score is 19-17. Too tight of a set. Actually, the set is over. Of course, someone like Gosia, who's basically a net patroller, is not going to pass on this opportunity. And while we have 3 set points, Slovenia takes a timeout. The cousins, of course, very used to one another, so they're going to discuss a little bit, make some changes. I hope they're going to discuss a little bit their setting. I think this is a little bit, or this is the main fix that they should do right now. They haven't been served or aced much, but where they have struggled is getting the partner in the position that they want to be in. A lot of the sets are too close, especially when you have a high blocker, and the high blocker can then basically just put their hands in front of the ball. So if they can clean up a little bit their setting, they're going to be in very good shape. They're getting Gosia in a lot of trouble. Nina able to power this one through, but Monica is there. Like I said, from all her indoor stuff, she's used to the powerful hits. Taira overdoing it. The set was hanging inside. I think we have a little bit of a wrong score there. I think it's now 2018. So we didn't have 3 set balls, but we do have 2 now. And ooh. Again, this time the reception very tight. Nina able to push through, and that means 19-20 now? Or 18-20? I'm going to stick with 19-20 just to make it a little bit more interesting. Of course, the production is going to correct me. Doesn't matter. Monica powers it through. We're going to call it a set. 21-18, 21-19, doesn't matter. First set goes to Poland. And look at that swing. After Taida decided that she's not going to block this one, Nina moved a little bit more towards the middle, because usually what happens is that if we have a blocker pulling off of the net, it takes a lot of attention, so usually the hitter tries to hit a little bit more that direction. So that's why a lot of times the defender, they decide to go a little bit closer and help him out. It's going to be interesting to see what adjustments Nina and Taida will do. My recommendation, as I mentioned before, would be to focus a little bit more on their setting, putting the ball slightly more precise, but also away from the net. Big blocker is a factor, and the other advice would be for especially Nina when she's blocking to penetrate with the arms a bit more. Great serve, perfect pause press by our production to show us that the ball was in, and that's a great start again from Slovenia. But not to forget, they started 6-1 in the first one already, and Poland was able to come back. So there's a lot of things to this game. Next ball goes out as our boat floats by. There was probably a touch from Gosia, that's why she decided to go over. I think that ball is... oh, it's in. So another great block. Oh, we hear some Polska screams. I don't know if they brought their own fans with them. And there we go, we mentioned it earlier, Nina being all over this one now. Getting those hands over a bit sooner. Also Monica waiting a little bit longer in that hit. It was, either way, it was a great combo for Slovenia. Ooh, that's a bit unfortunate. That ball sailing over, and Taida being a little bit more focused on the attacker and basically missed that ball. Maybe there was also a slight touch from Gosia there. And again, that before mentioned setting, not only that it's close, it's also on the other side, which allows Poland to take a lead on the first side switch, 4-3. It will be interesting to see what people at home think. Are they still believers of Slovenia, or they're completely on the Poland train, where Monica has another good defense. Again, as I mentioned earlier, a tight set from Taida to Nina, and big blockers, they can reach for it and basically put a roof, as they call it, over it. So there was nowhere pretty much to go. You see how basically Gosia reached over so much that they even had a simultaneous contact. Nina just touched the ball and Gosia was already on it, so there was absolutely nowhere for her to go. She would have to do some spectacular move to get out of it. Wasn't able, and now the ball slips through. We mentioned it earlier. Not sure what the Slovenian girls were signaling. That ball slipped, and that one is in. They tried it. Taida immediately laughed it off, trying to celebrate the point, convince the referee that the ball was out, but Branka knew better. And no, Nina doesn't want to go off the board, and Monica again with the dive. Ooh, and this time Nina Loshing bringing the hammer. I think the socks need to be adjusted after she almost went off the platform. I'm still waiting for my first dive. Nina being there. Good job. But again, not a successful reception from Gosia. This time she does it a lot better. Better position, able to power. Ooh, that ball was called out. If it wasn't, it was for sure convincing enough from the Slovenian girls. And this is of course allowed, although Nina didn't push the ball down. It's considered a block, so she can do whatever direction she wants to go. And we have ourselves a game again, 7 versus 7. Again, of course, it would be spectacular if we would have the game go into 3. Would be a lot of pleasure for all the fans on the location, and also for us, we could get to enjoy a little bit more of volleyball on water and the Slovenia-Poland matchup. The call was out, which means 8 serving 8. And like I've probably mentioned before, volleyball on water has started as sort of a little bit of a promotional event for Ljubljana hosting the World Champs and Euro Champs. As we see another spectacular point by the girls, the better end for Poland. But as I've mentioned, it started like that, and now this is also a great transition, because in just a couple of weeks, not next week, but in 2 weeks' time, Ljubljana is hosting again a VNL tournament where Slovenian boys, the indoor national team, they get to present themselves in front of the home crowd. And we always know they play better in front of the home crowd. This is where they qualified for the Olympics. They ended up taking a 5th place in the Olympics, led by the captain Tine Urnaut. I didn't check. This ball was clearly in. I think the girls are taking a similar strategy now. Celebrate early to convince the referee. It's not gonna work though. At least not too often. And I'm pretty sure some of the boys stopped by. I saw Rok Možić was there. And like I said, I'm pretty sure Tina Urnaut and the rest of the crew also stopped by if they're not in the VIP right now. So you're also going to be able to see some famous volleyballers at the location. Oh, come on, Taida, do it. We want to see a dive. Also, not to underestimate is, of course, every other dive that is done on the platform. I think we saw earlier from one of the Brazilian players that his knees were a little bit beat up. And also we see it now when the girls actually do dive for the ball, that, you know, they do a long step and they do a little bit more of a layout, because not to forget, the 15 centimeters of water are only gonna take away so much of your sponge or splash in the water, which means that if you come too hard down, you could probably cause some pain to the body. I'm not going to say that you're going to do damage or you're going to get hurt, but it could hurt a little bit. And a great serve from Poland, and that's already a first, I'm not gonna say, but a significant lead, 13-9, which means the Slovenian girls, they would need to side out first and then do 3 breaks just to tie the game. And Nina being passive again against the float serve, which is never a good idea, which means the ball just kind of bounces off of the platform that she's using. You want to be always active and directing the ball forward. That ball clearly long. 14-10. One thing that I like about volleyball and water as well is not just that, you know, you basically showered after the game, but also look at the tempo that we have between the points, except for now when Paida is actually picking up the ball that is swimming to her and throwing it to the lovely boat assistant. Other than that, basically, you know, the platform is kind of small, so players go very back to their serve, and it's a high-paced game. In beach volleyball, that would have been in, but on volleyball on water, that was unfortunately a bit long. 15-10, which could mean that we actually are already sort of done with the final. Not yet, but we're close to it. Block touch is being called on that one. Ooh, the girls. As I mentioned, they're all friends, but when it comes on the court, so we're going to have to change that point. It wasn't for Poland, it was for Slovenia, making it 15-11 if I'm counting correctly. The Polish girls did fool a lot of people, so we're going to have to correct the score. So that makes it 16-11 now, and we're 1 point away from the switch. We accidentally pressed the point earlier for the wrong team, just because Poland celebrated so convincingly. And there we have a good set for Taida. The ball is off the net, which eliminates Gosia from being able to put the hands on the block and gives a lot of operating space for Taida. And with the pokey cut, we call it a cut whenever it's a short diagonal, reducing the score to 16-12. Monica is basically unmistakable in this game. If I would have to vote right now, I would say she's the MVP of this game. Also, the organizers are going to pronounce an MVP, so you can put in your early claims. Just after seeing this final, I'm saying that if Poland sticks to win, Monica is the MVP. Now I'm confused now, I wasn't watching at the score if it already got corrected or not, but definitely Poland is leading. And they're coming closer and closer to securing the bag. There's also, of course, prize money at this event. If you want to know how much, you can join us again next year, or you can make sure that this event comes closer to your home, wherever that is. If it's somewhere in Europe, of course, it's probably going to be a little bit easier for Extreme to come to and organize it in your city or in your town. If you're abroad, you know, I'm sure we can find the material there and make it happen. Ooh, and a great short serve from Taida. And what a dive from Monica. Unapologetic, she dives in there. I hope we get this to see again. I mean, I wouldn't dare, but she does. But obviously, finals are not to be played, finals are to be won. Nina getting a little bit of a water shower on the other side, but she doesn't care. The short serve on the Gosia's end has been very, very effective. And we can hear the crowd just going and supporting the Loshin cousins with the Slovenia. Oh, and as mentioned, another short serve. This time Gosia was a bit more ready. Oh, that's unfortunate for Taida. She was right there. We do probably gonna get a side switch now. Now I'm just not sure. I still believe it's 1916, not 2015. But either way, we're gonna see now. Nobody has mentioned a match point yet. And there's a match point for Poland. That means it's 2016. And that ball is long, and we have a Poland celebration. And you can see this means a lot to them. Of course, the handshake. The Lushin sisters, they already have gold, so they're going to be happy with the silver as well. Not immediately, of course, they wanted to win this one. They're still discussing the last point, asking if Gosia might have touched the net. However, the decision stands. We're about to sign the protocol. There is none. We're the video protocol. And that means we have about a couple of thousand witnesses that can confirm that this match has happened. Most of them live, some of them also in the stream. And now we're going to see the dive of all four. Great sportsmanship. Let's see if all four of them do a flip. Nope. Oh, that would have been spectacular. Imagine all four of them just doing a backflip all of a sudden. Would have loved it. But again, friendly talk between the players. Like I said, they're friends off the court. They're competitors on the court. This is how it looked during the day when there was a little bit more sunlight. This is how it looks towards nighttime. A lot of love being spread. People having fun, even before the final, dancing. And everybody feels Slovenia. Some with the sign, some with the shaking the hips. It's the event you want to be at. We're not done yet. What we're gonna have now is, of course, another performance. And because I'm a quick forgetter, I'm gonna look at the plan. It's gonna be, we had Voice of Ljubljanica by Classy Band earlier. Hope you guys got to enjoy that. Next one is Magic Ljubljanica by Magic Alexander. So a beautiful turn there from Gosia again. Monica, who was my MVP of this game. She was a little bit the X factor, collecting a lot of volleyballs on defense and converting almost all of them, also helping out Gosia out of trouble. Gosia was struggling, especially early on, a lot with the reception of the float serves. But Poland was able to fight through. Even in the first set, after the first side switch was 6-11, Gosia was patrolling and dominating the net, as we saw here. And Monica was great support all along. Of course, we can have a couple of split opinions on where the ball landed at different times, but this is just the nature of the game. Especially in water, where, like we said, the ball bounces 15 centimeters higher than the line is. It's not always easy to tell. And there you can see our lovely boat, who's going to take our players and our referee back away from the platform and back onto the safe grounds just alongside the river, not on the river. Our organizer crew is going to adjust, or actually, again, I think remove the net. Let's see if they just put it up or if they're actually going to remove it again for our performance. But either way, at this point, like I mentioned to you, we're about to see Magic Ljubljanica by Magic Alexander as soon as everything is ready. And then we're going to have a men's final where a Slovenian-Czech combo with Dober večer, good evening, and welcome back to the Volleyball on Water. We've gone through a couple of bronze medal matches, and now we're about to see the gold medal match on the men's side, and that means we have a big entrance from Team Czech Republic, Slovenia. Martin Melmuka and Alan Koshinina. We couldn't see it here, but I bet it was a jump off the bridge. And on the other side, we're gonna have Team New Zealand. We can already see Jack McManaway with the number one of our two Kiwis, and the crowd just enjoying the show. I mean, yeah, it's nice to see it from here, but it's even better when you're there in live. You can see everybody's having fun. Doesn't matter if you're on or off the court. There's also our other Kiwi, Ben O'Day, with the number 2. And in case you guys are wondering how all of those guys end up where they are, it was by winning a lot of matches. If I'm not mistaken, both of them won their pools. We had 2 pools of 4 teams. The winner of the pool directly advanced into the semifinal, where the O'Day McManaway New Zealand team beat Brazil, who ended up being 4th, and the Slovenian Czech combo beat the French team. Both games were in 2 sets. Also, both of them were able to skip the quarterfinals as they won their pool, which meant they went directly to the semi. In the first pool play game, O'Day McManaway beat Brazil again, so that means that 2 of their 4 matches were against Brazil, both times winning 2-0, 2-0, and Koshina Melmuka won against Australia 2-0, and then to win the pool, Koshinina Melmuka won against Germany, who unfortunately due to sickness had to pull out of today's quarterfinal, and O'Day McManaway won against the Slovenian record beach volleyball champion Daniel Pokeršnik with 2-1. Daniel was of course playing together with his partner Denis Rubida. They used to be teammates playing indoor. That's why they know each other, they get along well, and they decided to play the tournament together. Daniel was looking for a big blocker, and Denis answered the call. To lose 15-13 against New Zealand is no shame. We'll see what I'm talking about, but that's basically what happened. So it was a 15-13 in the 3rd set. All of those guys are very athletic. We're about to see Martin go and fly up in the air and bounce that. Alan, of course, encouraging him, loves it. And on the other side, it's going to be Ben after the set from Jack. Everybody gets out of the way when somebody hits. As a fun fact, the Kiwis joined us for the first time. They were playing a bunch of events here in Europe on the Beach Pro Tour, and they had a free week, so they decided to join us here in the water. Martin and Alan, on the other hand, last year's finalists, which means last year they were standing on the opposite side of the net. Martin with the better end, together with his partner Tadeusz Tezele. They ended up winning. It was an impressive fashion. Disappointing, of course, for all the local fans who wanted to see Alan win. Was it Alan in the final last year? I think it was. But yeah, so this year they joined forces and they're in the final. And I think something that's going to be the 4th or the 5th edition of Volleyball on Water. Definitely looking to make it more. As you can see, it's a very successful event. All the stuff you hear in the background, it's people having a party in downtown Ljubljana. And we have a few more showmen, and here we can see some people, even if you're just watching, you cannot resist the rhythm that the DJ is putting up. It just kind of goes through your hips, so you kind of keep shaking with it a little bit. You know, also have an outfit ready to continue the night afterwards in Ljubljana. You don't have to call it a night just by watching volleyball on water. I'm sure some of the players, you know, after, let's call them, demanding 2 days, they will be ready to continue in one of the, maybe even in one of the nightclubs. I don't know them well enough to make this claim. It would be kind of scary to be on the other side of the net of Martin when he rises like this and just bounces. Yes, we are in the nighttime where it gets darker, so we have a lot of lighting to make the ball and the court visible. You can also notice the LED lights marking the edge of the platform, and of course the little bit more inside is the edge of the court. So where you see the volleyball swimming now, it's right between the edge of the platform and the edge of the court. Jack and Alan, both number ones, they're about to decide the coin toss, who's going to start serving, who's going to be receiving. Our referee is going to be Gregor Novak, also known as Chiro. Alan seems to have won the coin toss. He'll pick the side, he'll pick first, Jack will go second, handshake. I've mentioned it before, it's rivalry on court, but it's all good lads, good boys outside. We get along pretty well. All we're gonna wait for is for Chiro to get up on the referee chair, and then let's see what happens. This is still the score of the women's final, 21-16. That's how the second game ended. Less important. We've seen a lot of 3-setters during this tournament. However, in the final or in the medal matches, there hasn't been that many. All games ending with 2-0. First, it was Kalar Marold beating the Austrian duo Handler Holaus and Holzer with 2-0. Then it was Fomkarnier, El Guti, Malo and Iskander, who won 2-0 against Brazil to secure the bronze. And we just saw the women's final with Volkiagla, who also in 2 sets were able to overcome last year's winners, the cousins Nina and Taida Loshin. So let's see if the boys will give us a 3-set spectacle or if they're gonna end it in 2. It's gonna be a very physical game. All of those boys very high flying. You can see that after every warm-up hit they have to apologize to somebody because they hit the ball so hard that the ball bounces off the water in the close vicinity of somebody, may it be on a stand-up paddle or on a boat, or maybe even in the stands. And you heard it here. Ljubljanica and Ljubljana, make some noise for our teams. There you have it, with number 1, Jack McManaway. His next stop is going to be the World University Games representing New Zealand. And his partner Ben O'Day. They came off of a couple of wins at the Beach Pro Tour Futures. They're in great standings to qualify for the Beach Volleyball World Championships. And there we have our local superstar, I'm going to call him, former international team libero Alan, also a national champion indoor with Maribor, playing with the Czech beast in the most positive way possible, just referring to his physicality. His biceps don't lie. Martin Melmuka. Last year, so basically the water king here, the champion. And we're going to start it off with the serve from Slovenia. They decided to go over the younger of the two. And Alan already with the first spectacular dive. And well, maybe I was like mentioning the biceps of Martin, but also Ben O'Day. He's not, I'm not going to say, he's definitely not weak, but he's also one of the strongest guys on the tour. So we already had a first nice duel on the net. And there's the next one, Martin with the strong hit, Ben being in front of him. And Ben just closing the net. So we've seen that a little bit in the past, that Alan could struggle a little bit against the big blockers. I'm sure since then he's learned a lot and he's going to be able to move it around. We're also going to see how much the lighting is going to be a factor, how much Alan is going to feel the love of Slovenia. But, oh, Jack putting some pressure on the service against Martin, getting him in trouble, and Alan not being able to get to the ball, which makes it an early lead for New Zealand, who were probably on paper the favorites before the tournament, but not to forget the experience of the two guys that have played in water. And oh my God, Ben O'Day, that ball landed in water before anybody else did. Look at that, the way they rise it, put the arms over. Martin is definitely not a weak hitter, and you see Ben just getting the hands in the diagonal. Great stuff. Looks like they chose they want to go more over Martin. He goes for a line shot. And Ben with the... Oh, what a splunge from both of them. Let's see if Alan can play alone against Ben. Another spectacular move. I mean, we've seen Alan dive. We've seen Martin go off the platform. We've seen Alan basically being the flying duck for the Kiwis. I'm not sure if this was Jack or Ben, doesn't really matter. The swing was impressive, and Alan was an easy target, or actually he kind of stepped out of the way. But we have a great start for New Zealand, 5-0, and this time Martin pushes through 5-1. So we have officially the Slovenian-Czech combo in the game and on the scoreboard. Let's see what kind of strategy they decide for. Looked like they wanted to go over Jack, but the serve being too long. 6-1. I think this is the first time I'm seeing people play with caps. Oh no, Marcia played as well. Not the most typical choice to have a cap on. Might be representing the sponsors. Jack pulling off the net, but Martin says, not against me. 6-2. Looks like Martin is slowly finding his rhythm. Look at him, even away from the net, he can get up. That ball long. That would not even been in beach volleyball, so that makes it a little bit difficult for Jack. You know the hit is powerful if one of the former better liberos in the world, Alan Krušič, cannot react to it. 7-3. Jack trying to go over on one. So is Alan, but what are we seeing here? It's not... That was a little game of, let's call it badminton. Ending up with Alan going over with the set. A couple of great anticipations from Ben on the net, but also Alan was ready. So we had a nice little game of ping pong. Too bad that Martin put it in the net now. Kind of killed the momentum, but still a very fun point. I hope our social media gets it. And we have another dive for the point. Not sure if it was really needed, but we all know that Alan loves to do it. Let's reevaluate if we see it here. Maybe Jack going a little bit more too much towards the line. That ball sails long. Alan demanding a challenge. And Cheater giving the challenge to him, saying the ball was out. There's no doubt about that one. There was a clear difference between the light and where the ball plunged. But it's all, like I mentioned, in good spirits. Martin trying to go quick past the block, dropping the ball a little bit too low, so it was just the tape that he caught there. Although the ball landed outside, there was no touch from Ben in the block, making it 10-5. Look at this fair play. Like I said, Ben O'Day immediately admitting that he touched the ball, not making it very hard on Chiro, our referee Gregor Novak. Well, it's not easy, as you can see. It's already darker. There's a lot of water splashing around, so it's not that easy to tell. Ooh, and a shoot set, and what a swing from Jack McManaway. And you were maybe able to see on the wall there was a banner for the VNL from the 16th to the 20th of July. I mentioned it earlier, but Slovenian national team is going to be playing in Ljubljana in Arena Stožice, their usual home. I don't have the schedule in front of me, but make sure you get tickets. There's always great opponents in the VNL, plus you get to see all of our superstars from Tine Urnaut to Alen Pajing, Rok Možić, Janko Zamernik, and so on. I know that by mentioning few, I basically excluded the other one. That was not the meaning. Some of them are also in the stands today. If you follow Alan Koshenina on Instagram, you're going to see he was there earlier with Rok Možić. They grew up together both in Maribor, also Rok Bračko. Alan and Rok Bračko also have a silver medal at the Beach Pro Tour that happened in Ljubljana. Lost only in the final. When we see a tricky knuckle shot by Ben O'Day going to the diagonal, and Alan, because he got fooled the wrong way, just continuing his way off the board, basically showing that he wasn't necessarily happy with himself how he moved too early on that one. The players have their drinks there, so there's no other benches to put it. They would only be in the way. While we have 50 Cent entertaining the crowd, the players got ready again. Stand-up paddlers, making sure that we don't run out of volleyballs. The red boat supplying the players with the officially snow volleyballs, but we might just rename them to water volleyballs. I mean, what is more spectacular, snow or water? It's a rhetorical question. If somebody was thinking about answering snow, no. You are cancelled. Volleyball on water, this is where it's at. You can see those. I mean, in snow, what are you gonna like throw yourself in snow? No. It's still fun, but volleyball on water, this is where it's at. Alan trying to go down the line. The Yoi is a universal language. It's not just Slovenian. A lot of splashing around when Martin goes for the short serve, trying to stop himself to not run through to the other side, and then with a lot of overview for the line shot, reducing to 10-14. Slovenian Czech combo is going to need to find some ways to do a couple of breaks, not against one of the fastest arms they are, or I'm not going to say arms, but shoulders they are on the tour. Ben O'Day. I mean, even the moon gets half full once they see the movement of Ben's shoulder. It's so fast. And Martin has definitely adjusted to his, or found his line shot, reducing to 15-11. But Slovenian Czech combo is going to need a couple of breaks. 4 would be great. The difficult part with Ben, or playing against Ben, is, although they've got him in trouble and Jack had to do a set from further back, and although he put it a bit tighter, Ben still gets his feet to the ball, which allows him with his height, with his jump, to still be there before Martin. So Martin cannot reach the ball, so that although the set was tight, he can still go around or over the block. Looks like Martin is claiming this court. This should be a side switch slowly, 16-12. This could have been like the hit of the game award. I think we're gonna be looking in between Martin and Ben, probably for those most spectacular hits. The block currently is being held by Ben. I don't think Alan will be the one who will change that. Maybe a thing to consider for Alan and Martin is also that Martin decides or stays as a blocker, or even when serving. Might be tough against the Kiwis since they like to play on second ball as well. However, Martin is a little bit more of a natural blocker, and Alan. And there we have it, Ben O'Day with a double high five with Jack afterwards as a celebration. But that basically means second time all around, he's got one of the best blocks. I would say the first one's still more spectacular. And the net patroller strikes again. Might have been just reinforcing the tape. However, still patrolling the net. It's also for New Zealand, this is the better combo when they have Ben at the net and Jack serving. It was an interesting wait from Ben, but a great anticipation. So after Jack made that reception, he kind of stumbled a little bit, only was able to poke that ball over. But then also seems like Martin was able to snuggle that ball onto the Kiwi side. I think for the award for best plunges goes to Alan, and Martin able to just pull him back onto the platform. I mean, even if they don't win, they're probably going to be the team that had the most fun during this weekend. That ball is in. We're going to have one more side switch, but still 5 set balls remaining to Team New Zealand. And Jack wants to enter the conversation for the best hit. Shoot set, and Jack just powering through. Alan a little bit late on the block. He tried to dive in, and Martin not able to also get behind the ball, or basically opening up a bit too much, not able to push the ball to the front. That concludes it for game one. New Zealand with a little bit of a demanding lead that they took early on, getting Martin. After that, Slovenia Czech combo stabilized their game, their side out, which could mean a little bit more promising second set. But the concerning thing for that team is still, how are we going to break New Zealand? The serves weren't with enough pressure. The block hasn't been high enough or not over enough. The defense hasn't been there, as the Kiwis have been swinging through all of those sets. So let's see what Alan and Martin come up with, but it's good to hear, or good to see, that they've stabilized their own side out. Yeah, not a good idea to pull on Ben when he has a good set like that. All the reception was poor. Like I said, he's a physical phenomenon. Look at it, how he rises over the net. And I also think it's a little bit of that presence from Ben at the net that kind of concerns Martin. He tries to look a little bit longer to see what's going to happen, to not get blocked, and then the ball ends up being too low and makes an error. Oh, what a swing from Jack. Martin was waiting for Jack to move. He didn't, and then the shoot set and a very sharp diagonal hit. Would have been even better if the ball bounced more, but it was still powerful, and you could hear the splash even here on the stream. Tricky from Alan. He had to go over since the ball was touched in the block, so that means that was the first touch. He had to go over. He kind of tricked, and as you saw, a lot of players, they struggle to move forward. So that was actually a very good idea. However, the ball ending just wide, and this one just long. So we have another early lead, 5-0. And Alan supporting Martin. And look at that, a shoot set to the outside, Jack rises, and just a very strong hit. And now we have a 7-0 switch, 7-0. But we all got a strong belief for Team Slovenia Czech, so let's not write them off quite yet. We can still hope for a third set. We saw it earlier in the women's final. That's 6-1, and welcome in game 2, Martin Melmoka. That's how you do it. Don't try to look over too much. Take the ball early and just power it past the block. It's almost impossible to defend a hit like this. And I mentioned it earlier, Martin going up to the net, trying to block. And we have a miss hit from Jack, and there we go. Slovenia Czech. We got a strong belief. That one hurts a little bit. We got them in trouble. Jack didn't make a perfect reception, forcing Ben to kind of go over on 2 with not all of the height he has, but he gets the net roller. Yes, Martin has definitely arrived. Another solid side out by Martin, and 3-8. So let's see if maybe Alan tries a short serve or something tactical in there as well. Something, I mean, when I said short, I meant over the net, Alan. Yeah, we'll have a chat later, but definitely gotta have some ideas. I like the fact that Martin ran to the net on the one earlier. The set from Alan just a bit tight, and then not the best solution from Martin. You know you have a big blocker who's going to form in front of you, so hitting the ball straight down is not a great idea. In beach volleyball, that is in. Volleyball on water, that is unfortunately wide. And we have a big lead of Team New Zealand, 11-3. You can just see that after Martin jumps, he kind of like the arm just kind of waits a little bit before he actually detonates. He wants to have a little bit of a look. That causes him to then use a little bit too much power, unfortunately, and the ball sailing out. Earlier in game 1, he was able to hit a few line shots. You know, the defense positioned itself early. They're not able to move. Would be something to consider now as well. Another thing they could possibly do is have Martin switch on the other side. If the reception is better, it would give him an option of Alan going on 2. It would also allow him to have his hitting arm, the right arm, on the outside, which means that whenever you want to hit diagonal, it gives you a little bit more court. Or just like that. And now we get the Slovenian classic. And the Czech guy knew what the Slovenian song meant. It meant Serve an Ace, the most played song.
showing a little bit of mortality. First, not the perfect reception, the ball off the net, and Ben hitting it long. So 2 break points in a row. Let's see if they can get a third one. Yes, no. Still alive. Oh, too bad. Such a great opportunity. First, the reception of Jack comes off the net. Ben pushes it on the net, but Alan hits it straight at the flying attacker slash blocker. We're able to recover, but Martin hits the ball long. He's been struggling with that quite a bit now in this final. We see also the Kiwis now with Ben running forward and blocking. It has been the better combo for them. Jack had a couple of nice touches on defense, but Ben also quite a few blocks. See, that's going to be quite a stunt now if the Slovenian-Czech combo is able to make a comeback. I don't know what other song the DJ can put on to get Martin and Alan to new heights. But many good spots in Ljubljana. It's not just the Ljubljanica River. So make sure you do visit it at one point. What I've heard from the players so far, everybody enjoys it, everybody loves it, and it's not just the event. Ooh, Martin! There you go. Sliding underneath that left arm that Ben cannot really fully press over. And this is what I meant earlier with Martin. The set gets a little bit tight, so if Ben would now go and hit it down or with power, then he would hit exactly at the hands of Martin. So, you know, if he keeps it high enough, it goes off the hands, but it's so much better to switch to this off-speed shot where he can still direct the ball over the block, and he's been doing it great. New Zealand trying to go a lot with putting the reception on the net, of having the option of hitting the ball on 2, but this one was a little bit too far, and then the set was not perfect, and Jack hit it long. Easy defense now for Martin. There's been a few chances, but there was just been too many errors on the side from our last year's Water King, or let's call him Aquaman. We're going to also have another performance of the Aquaman right after this. Like I said, it's one of the most famous stories. Oh, both of the Kiwis on that, and Alan tripping. That is unfortunate. It was quite obvious when he kind of stopped early on that set that he tries to go and back set it over. So both Jack and Ben were running to that ball, which probably confused them and played the ball over, but it also confused Alan, and he tripped a little bit and couldn't control it. Oh, an attempt of a kick. Yeah, so this is where the water punishes more than any other surface. If you get caught off balance like here, Ben was backwards, leaning too far back, impossible to change direction. Only thing he was able to do was try to kick up, but not hitting the ball. You know, the Kiwis, they're a little bit more known for the rugby team, maybe not necessarily for the football. But Jack is definitely known for a fast arm. And we're going to have a sky ball. Yes? No? Yeah, it's a sky ball. Let's see it. Jack McMahon away. Send it off. If you would get it closer, Alan would jump to receive that ball, but since it was so far away, it was out of reach. Would have been a spectacular play. Imagine somebody jumps in the water, is swimming, and then actually makes a ball contact.
and we have ourselves a few match balls. This time Martin reaching over Jack, however, sending the ball just wide, and that has been a clear win for New Zealand. Could have been a lot tighter. The Slovenian-Czech combo didn't find their rhythm. It's nevertheless a great tournament from them, coming off of a pool win directly into the semifinal, winning against France, securing silver medal, but the Kiwi boys just too strong. And let's see if they're going to do a traditional Kiwi plunge. They're taking off their socks already, it seems. I'm sure Alan is going to do a goofy one. Let's see, New Zealanders, they're obviously, you know, I was going to say born and raised next to the ocean, so what they do is jump off the bridges, jump into the water. So this for them is like nothing, so they have to like probably bomb it and do a big splash. And there we see Ben. Yep, Ben wins the splash contest, Alan wins the goofiness contest, but the traditional jump after the game into the river has succeeded. I missed the jacks. Can we get a replay? Kind of want to see what the other ones did. And this is also time for us to say goodbye, at least for the game, as our lovely neighbor from the Ljubljana Center did. Enjoy a few more highlights. Probably the block of the tournament from Ben. This trick play of the tournament from Alan. The best looking moon today, and many, many more. That's a solid celebration that would intimidate everybody. And that's a powerful swing that not even a world-class libero can defend or control. Great jump off of a platform. And you see how fast the ball comes at them. Barely time to react. And ladies and gentlemen, this is just volleyball on water. Spectacular hits. Lots of splashing water. People falling off the platform and being dragged back on. Mainly just Alan. But it can happen to anybody. And spectacular jumps and swings, as we saw from the Kiwi boys, with an unbelievable angle hit. Martin with the line hit. Oh, we saw a lot of those great plays. And now the only thing we have remaining is our Ljubljana Aquaman, and then we have the prize ceremony for the women and men. So we're gonna get to see all those teams again, and then all this crowd, as you can see, they're already ready to go and party or continue to party, since they've been partying for a while. I am gonna say thank you, and this is the jump that I was looking for. Both of the Kiwis, I don't know what the name of this one is, but plunging with the feet and the hands at the same time. There we see Ben falling off the platform again.
Non prima di venire allo stamine.
Slovenia national representative and ambassador Gogosta Volleyball, to je Drugi podeljevalec je pa direktor agencije Extreme in pa edini vodja gospod, ki je direktor za samo danes, lani pa predlagatelj tudi tukaj, to je Simon Krušič!
The man who made all of this happen, the man who had the idea of what I want to see on the road.
That's a check with 300 euros. Dajcie za pomoc, dajcie za Krušič.
On the second place, also representing Slovenia, Miha Go up. Next year's winners. This time, second place.
Tylko wtedy dzisiaj strony organizatora polega 7 euro. Teraz do euro.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it a second. This is first place.
for the main category, we will have Krušič, national team Slovenia player, and also the ambassador of volleyball, and also Olympic director Miha Grozi Čučaka, ostali pa prijatelj sadaj z Šuličkom, da nam delimo še zadnje nagrade.
Pa imamo stoga sigurno.
The guys are on the ball, in a minute. They will be on the floor on the stage.
They're on the move. Exactly coming.
Here they are. Evo to je potencijal Janja našega polfinalnog četvrtfinalnog dobivamo najboljše nagrade tule na Ljubljanici. Nemamo aplauz, dodatno! Moška kategorija, volleyball, amater, Hrvati, do 2020! Zagrali nas do podjela i Krušič ekipa Krušič.
Three minutes of third place. Goes to Volleyball, France. All for the second. Krušič.
Chico Fischer, 3 girls, also behind the girls for third place. Congrats!
Second place. Antonina Martin Luka. Slovenia Czechia, double. Martin, that's the winner this year. Martin, next year, number 3 Miha. Just the drop from the Untitled from the league, left round. Here we go.
Also, 700 girls, 7th of euro. Zagrubimy sprawa, zatem na piwo para pizzo.
show. What a spectacle. What a performance to the whole tournament. From New Zealand, Jack the Wow. Hey, we can have some magic MVP. I have no idea. MVP, also from the winning team. Everybody, so one big photo with the man, and then we'll welcome back to the ladies. And like I said, a big thank you to all the parents who made this event happen. This your energy. Your energy is a big part of this, so thank you parents from all over the world. Thank you. Then we drink. Thank you for your energy is amazing. And now the group is we organize volleyball in Los Angeles. What? Everybody give me the answer. Can we get a big applause? Big applause for the best three teams, men and women. We love you. Thank you for this photo, this was amazing. Hvala sa sponzorima, hvala sa poveriljem. Hvala Uvrštajki, hvala ti za sukres, hvala tebi. Hvala Krušiču. We see you next year.